Oh my gosh, all of the shenanigans that have happened since then. You guys have no idea. We will get into them as we go on throughout this podcast. I mean, we've almost been kidnapped by Scientologists. It's a very bizarre story. So, we'll get into that later on. That's just a teaser for episodes to come, right? So, yeah, we hit it off really well. She kind of just latched on and never let go, and so I've just kind of been stuck with her ever since.
She's so obsessed with me.
Everybody gets obsessed with me. You guys are going to find that out very, very, very quickly. Hey everyone, and welcome to our first episode of Our Business Shenanigans. I'm Jen Rogers, entrepreneur, business mentor, and owner of Just Peachy Clean in Daytona Beach, Florida.
And I'm Nicole Cobb, business owner, strategist, and founder of Paragon Cleaning in Virginia. Together, we're bringing you real, unfiltered business talk with the side of chaos and comedy.
Nicole brings all the comedy. That's all on her.
The
bar is set very high.
You're kind of
Thanks. All right. So this podcast is for anyone running a business, thinking about starting one, or just hear about the absolute insanity that comes with running a business and being an entrepreneur.
Expect real talk, business wins and fails, marketing tips, hiring horror stories, and of course, plenty of shenanigans along the way.
So if you love business, strategy, and a little chaos, be sure to subscribe because we're going to try to do this every week. I'm going to say we're committing, but that's a big ask. So weekly should be the goal.
Yes, but today almost didn't happen. But here we are, chaos to start the morning.
Correct. And we almost delayed it, but I said, what better way to start the podcast than with just absolute chaos going on? We had some absolute chaos at my business this morning, but we are here and we are pushing forward. So let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I am Jen Rogers. Like I said, I own Just Peachy Clean in Daytona Beach, Florida. We have been in business for about 11 years, started as a solo cleaner all by myself and have grown it to now a company that employs 15 full-time cleaning techs, 3 office staff, and we are continually growing. We are a multi-six-figure business. We're competing with the largest franchises and winning. We have the highest Google reviews in our area, learning about hiring, marketing, sales the hard way. And the biggest business lessons that I've learned so far is you can't do it alone.
I love that. How do I follow up with that? Okay. All right. Way to come in hot, Jen.
That's what I'm here for. It's all a competition, right? There's that competition at the top. Come on, Nicole.
Yeah, competition at the top. What do they say?
Yep.
But okay, so I'm Nicole. I am the founder of Paragon Cleaning in Virginia, and we are at $1 million run rate, which has been a goal for many years, where our competitors aren't the solo cleaners. You know, I was a solo cleaner, so we'll kind of get into how Paragon was founded and the backstory on that. It's pretty comical. But I have invested greatly in myself, in my business, and then the people that I have on staff. We have 16 cleaning techs and 3 people in the office. Sometimes it's hard to keep up, but we're really happy with where we're at and the direction that we're going. And it's all because we continue to invest in ourselves, and we never approach a day thinking that we know it all. So I'm still continuously learning, and I also have a passion for helping people.
How far we have come. Like, this is amazing. We have both started from being the ones cleaning all by ourselves, doing everything, to now having a fully running, legit, successful business.
You got out of cleaning because you had a broken collarbone. That was your out.
I mean, that was part of it, but that wasn't the whole story. So I was definitely done, though. Like, when I got to a point where I looked at my husband and I said, I want to be done. I don't want to try to sell it. I don't even know what that looks like. I just want to close my doors because it was so chaotic. People calling out all of the time, dealing with scheduling issues after hours, dealing with phone calls and collecting checks and, chasing people down and all of that. Never having a weekend, never having an afternoon. And I had a little one at home and my older one who was about, 7 or 8 at the time. And I was done. And I found a coaching program that a friend kept, urging me to go to. And the day that I had my demo call with them was also the day I got the call from my doctor that said, hey, your collarbone is broken. You've been cleaning for 2 months with a broken collarbone. No wonder you've been in pain. So yeah, it was my easy out.
Yeah. I signed up, I think, around the same time you did for the same coaching program, but we already kind of knew of each other from
another cleaning group.
Yeah, another cleaning group. And I'm not going to lie, I thought Jen was mean. She was RBF permanently. And she can
Really
come off
bad.
pretty strong, but it's funny that I say that now because I think I come off stronger now and she's more gentle with her approach. I can come in fully swinging. But Jen and I had somewhat of a knowledge from a different group, very small group from
Yeah.
Susie. Susie put it together. And so we kind of collaborated there. And it's funny, if you go back to that group and actually look at the post we made, that was straight chaos. Like that would have to be its own episode.
Right.
We thought we knew it all.
You know what would be a great episode is to go back and look at those and to answer our questions that we had back then now, like how we would answer it now. We had no idea back then.
Didn't I do that to you like a couple months ago?
You do that to me frequently. Like you just pull you pull random stuff. Hey, remember when you did this completely embarrassing thing? Yeah, that was fun times, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so wasn't it a couple months ago I went on the group and actually started answering all of your questions that you posted like what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, ridiculous.
So Jen and I, we kind of had a knowledge of each other, and we both signed up for the same coaching program that's cleaning business specific. And then we really hit it off at a live event in Texas. And the way I knew, so we were like all going to like lunch one day and we're walking. Now remember we're in Texas and we're walking and Jen's in these like 8-inch heels. Like
I'm wearing them today too, by the way.
You can't tell her anything. So don't step into an armadillo hole.
Yeah, I don't think my ankle is completely healed. I'm still kind of wobbly on them. Probably not the best choice of shoes today.
I won't tell anyone, don't worry. On the podcast.
Just everyone.
Yeah, I'll just tell everyone. So she was stomping, like I say stomping because she was pretty aggressive, but this guy was holding up a sign. I don't even remember what it said. It was, some
I don't know, it
Bible
was like
scripture.
Jesus loves you or something.
Well, he commented on your RBF. He said that you were a sinner because you weren't smiling.
I mean, I feel like that's a bit harsh.
Yes, and you're like, I have a relationship with the Lord. Thank you so much, and kept stomping past him. And I was like, wow, she can put up with my shenanigans.
Oh my gosh, all of the shenanigans that have happened since then. You guys have no idea. We will get into them as we go on throughout this podcast. I mean, we've almost been kidnapped by Scientologists. It's a very bizarre story. So, we'll get into that later on. That's just a teaser for episodes to come, right? So, yeah, we like hit it off really well. She kind of just latched on and never let go, and so I've just kind of been stuck with her ever since.
She's so obsessed with me.
Everybody gets obsessed with me. You guys are going to find that out very, very, very quickly.
That is
true.
true.
We just hit it off. We hit it off really well. And I think one of the reasons that we hit it off really well is because owning a business is very lonely. Like you start to find out that it's difficult to have conversations outside of business talk with people who don't own businesses. And I love my friends. I have friends who don't own businesses, but there is just something different about being able to kind of vent and commiserate with somebody who is in the same industry, specifically industry as you, but also as an entrepreneur. They understand the struggles, they understand the hiring issues and all of that. So not only did we connect on that business level, we also connected because we both love our families. We both have kids. We both have great men in our lives, solid men who are very supportive of all of the crazy that we decide to do. And so I don't know, it's just kind of the rest has been history.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I realize that as I have grown as a leader in my job day to day or in my business, I have realized that even my circle has changed. Like a lot of the people that I was friends with when I was starting out, I just don't really associate with. No hard feelings. You kind of outgrow each other. So it's nice to have people on the same journey as you, and it's hard. Like, Jen and I are very blessed that we have amazing husbands to really support us on these journeys. But it wasn't always easy. There were a lot of nights, like when I was still cleaning and I was at home trying to do, computer work at night or even just bailing on him for different things. It was really hard. And I think that being able to invest in myself and kind of grow my business past just me has been the best thing for my relationship with him, with
Absolutely.
my family, just because there was no free time. Like when I started cleaning, I was cleaning like 70 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
So
You would never treat an employee the way we treated ourselves back then.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it was ridiculous. I can't tell you how many times I had my laptop open at the table, like while dinner's on the stove, because I'm trying to do something. When you said chasing payments, I never want to go back to that. I can't tell you
Nope.
how many times I almost got stiffed. One time I had to show up at a lady's house as they have the U-Haul packed and they're about to move. And I just like, the front door was open, so I walked in and I was like a loan shark. I was like, hi, I'm here to collect my money.
Oh my gosh.
And she like
Oh
was
my
giving
gosh.
me the runarounds and I made her give me a picture. Like I was like, okay, that's fine. Do you want to call any family to see if they can help pay this invoice? Because it was like, it was a big job and I wanted my
Yeah.
money, but I don't have to do that anymore.
No. And when you say it was a big job back then, we charged pennies. So a big job was probably not like what we consider a big job now. Back then you were probably like, I just need my $300. Please just pay me the $300 so that I can move
I'm
on.
pretty sure it was like a $400 or $500 job, and this was like 4 years ago, so it's probably double now. Now that I actually know our
Easy.
worth.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny you touch on that because I was actually reminiscing the other day about how much we've grown, and that's something I wanted to bring up in this podcast. When I started the business, I had no idea how to price. I was giving out move out cleans with window detailing included for 10 cents a square foot. Oven and fridge.
Gosh.
I can't tell you how many move outs we did that took like 8 labor hours that I charged like $150.
Yeah.
I didn't know what
Yeah.
I was doing.
No, you because you know why? When people end up starting a business because they're good at a thing. We were good at cleaning. We didn't know a thing about business. And then the business just starts to grow because you're really good at that thing. And then what happens? If you don't go and learn and seek out the things that you need to know, you just flounder and it just creates straight chaos. You then you get in that mindset of I can't find any good employees. Nobody wants to work now. This next generation is terrible. And that's not the case. People just want to be treated what they're worth and paid what they're worth. And once you find that out and start learning about that kind of stuff and start learning about culture, it shifts everything. But back then, I know you started broke. I started super broke too. We needed every penny we got. We didn't care. We just took any job, didn't matter what it paid. I just need the money in my bank account.
I didn't even have the list of my clients. I just had my paper calendar and I just knew where their houses were. Even
My
like when we
gosh.
started with the online system, I had to like use Google Maps to find a few addresses because I didn't have them written. I just knew what the house was because I cleaned it.
Could you imagine calling up the client? Excuse me, I know that I've been cleaning for you for like 3 years, but could you just give me your address, please? I just
No,
know
I
how to
think
get
I
there. I
played
don't
it
know the
off.
number.
I made like a Google form and was like, hey, can you fill this out? And it like had like basic information. I was like, I need to get it. It was like, it felt like a lot, but it was only like 30 clients at the time. And I was like, can you fill this out, please? And yeah, it wasn't the highlight of my business for sure. But it's amazing how far we have come. But I also like my heart breaks for the people that are still stuck on that hamster wheel. There is a better
Absolutely.
way. I didn't know. What actually attracted me to the coaching program was I was in this Facebook group. I don't even know how I got in it. And I saw somebody was complaining about like getting staff or something about like their employees. And I saw a comment and I think Jeannie posted it, but they said that we carry their supplies to the car. It's a part of our work culture. I saw that and I froze. Like I legit froze and I was like, you can have culture in a cleaning business. And that's what
Right.
like changed my mind. I was like, I'm signing up for this because it brought me back to the mentors that I had that poured into me before I started my business. And I remember, and I always use Tim, love the guy. I always use him as a reference when I'm, speaking to my team is like, this man was so amazing. He never asked us to work off the clock, but we were so loyal and dedicated to just supporting him that if he was like, hey, I can't pay you, can you work for free? We all would have said yes. And of course, I
That's
would
awesome.
never expect that of my employees, but I think that we have a pretty good culture today where like we all have each other's back, right? There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
I in team in that like you can really carry that really far. But it's not having a cleaning business or any business, no matter what your trade, it's not so much the best cleaning hacks or the best cleaning products. It's the people
Yeah.
that you have on your team and the people that you serve. That is the heartbeat of your company.
Right. So I have read studies that have been done where it's proven that people will choose mediocrity if it is consistent over the highs and lows. Like they don't want a company that's going to come in one week and do phenomenal and then the next week be terrible. Like they would almost rather just have consistent mediocrity. And there are so many companies out there that just do the up and down, the up and down, the up and down. And I'm not saying we strive for mediocrity, but it just goes to show you that people just want that consistency. If they can get that consistency, and if you can raise the bar and have that consistency a little bit higher and be a little bit more on that excellence, obviously you can't scale perfection, but you can scale excellence and be consistent with that, you're going to go so much farther than the majority of the companies out there.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that kind of kept me on the hamster wheel even after I signed up for the coaching program is I couldn't get out of the field because I couldn't train anybody. I can't tell you how many people, like it was to the point, it was myself and 2 employees and another girl, she starts crying. Like it's like her first week and she's crying, but I'm frustrated because
right.
I didn't have a training system. I didn't have systems or processes. And so like she wasn't mopping right or something. And my face said it all. And she starts crying and she's like, I can't do this anymore. And I just looked at the girl with me and I said, that's all you handle it. And I walked away because I didn't. And I don't say that to be heartless. Like I don't.
No.
I just was so overwhelmed and I was always burnt out that I didn't know how to properly train someone. And it actually wasn't until I trusted somebody else that was a mediocre cleaner, like she was decent enough, until I trusted her and poured into her to teach her how to, because she has that gift of teaching. So until I invested in her, and I think this is huge on empowering the people around you to do the things that you can't.
Right.
I entrusted the training into her. I gave her the tools. We walked through it. We had several meetings of what that looks like, and we fine-tuned it to now where we have 16 cleaning techs. We've gone through quite a few, to kind of get there, but it's amazing how trusting the right people, and we don't have to be, what is it, the saying, how it goes, a jack of all trades, master of none. I don't have to be the best at every single thing in my company. I knew with cleaning, I knew that nobody's going to clean as good as me, right? I thought. But I have techs now that clean way better than I do. And I'm like, awesome. My house is on the schedule twice a week, right?
Yep.
So it's just trusting the people around you and building them up. And the best part about it is I had them on my team doing recurrings. And then I was like, they can never do deep cleans without me. And then I was still doing the deep cleans, and I think I started offering like deep cleans half off just to kind of like test the waters. And I realized they did pretty good. And so then I learned that same focus has to go for the office, right? Like I wanted to hold on to everything because I know how it's done, but it all comes back to systems and processes in building the people around you. You have to give the people around you room for error. They're not going to walk in on their first day and be perfect, but you have to. No. It boils down to the character that you hire and are they teachable? Because if they're teachable, you can aim for the stars.
Yeah. You can train almost anybody to clean a house. You can't train attitude, you can't train personality, and you can't train character. Like they have to bring that to the table, and then pretty much most people we can train to clean a house. I mean, it's been very few times that I've had a really solid person that I couldn't train them to be a cleaner.
Yeah, and it's funny because you almost sometimes don't even want any experience. And I think that goes with all trades. I think that's with all trades because when we were at my last job, we didn't want people with experience because it was easier to teach them without the bad habits.
Than to break bad habits. Yep.
Yep.
All right, so why did we start this podcast?
Well, I love that we came up with the name and did not realize that our initials are RBS because I feel like that's very fitting.
It is so fitting. Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea. But honestly, I felt like I wanted to do it. One, I love helping people. I love mentoring people. I love talking business. I can talk it all day long. But two, there's so many business podcasts out there, and not to take away from any of them, that are just so stuffy and people listen to it and you don't really learn. It's very hard to learn from somebody who is monotone and just kind of speaking at you and not really, it's very hard to get through to me that way. And I learn when I'm entertained. And so I figured if we can bring a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of education, that maybe people will get something out of it and will enjoy just hearing our banter.
Yeah. And I think that for me, starting the podcast, well, I joked with my husband. He was asking about it. And I was like, well, duh, we're famous. Everybody wants to be us.
I mean, seriously.
But we have so much fun. If you go back, like I can't even find things in our chat history because we talk so much just about life,
My
just
gosh.
about everything. But if you look along the way, the common theme is even in the middle of the storms, we still have fun and we still
We do.
laugh and then we still pick up, brush ourselves off and get through it, right? So I think the biggest thing is it's not perfect. Like you said, there are so many boring podcasts out there, but we're hilarious. So we're real,
I mean,
we're relatable, and we're actually really helpful.
for the most part, as long as you do it our way.
As long as you watch the modules. That's it.
You have to watch the modules. You can't do it if you don't watch the modules.
And
Well, that's
spoiler
going to be a whole
alert,
podcast.
spoiler alert, we already have a list of podcasts we're doing, and that is one of them. So everyone is just going to be sent that when they have a question.
And we'll get into it more during that episode. But I think a lot of times what happens is that people, they don't want to find the answer. They want to be told the answer. And it's just so much easier to ask you for the answer than for me to go and dig for it or for whoever to go and dig for it.
Yes, so you're so good with words. Thank you.
Aw,
So I don't think
thanks.
that it's dumb to have a question. I think it's dumb when you won't do the homework to find it. But let's save that for that episode because that's a whole different
Yep.
thing. We're probably going to clip
It
a lot
is.
of that out. But
Okay, so what do we bring to the table? No fluff, real talk, what actually works, lessons from 2 different states, 2 different businesses. We hope to be fun and engaging and have actionable advice. And listen, if you guys have questions, you're more than welcome to go to our Facebook page and DM us a question. You can comment on any of the many places that this is going to be streamed and ask us questions because we'd love to talk about them. And if we can't find an answer, we have so many people in our circles that we can for sure get one. You know, we're planning on having guest speakers to talk about like bookkeeping and to talk about marketing and to talk about their other small businesses and what's worked for them. So we're really excited about all the things we have coming up.
yes, I love that so much. So we are actually really planning for this to be really insightful, fun along the way. I think the biggest thing about our podcast that's going to be a little bit different is we're going to go over the fails and the lessons. It's not just going to be all lessons. It's going to be, hey, this is what I learned along the way.
What are some of the things that we're going to be talking about on this podcast? We've kind of, talked a little bit about us and the comedy and the hilarity we bring to it, obviously. But we've already sat down and gone over some topics that we really want to touch on. The first one that we just touched on a minute ago was, have you watched the modules? We are going to be talking about pivoting when staffing goes wrong. All of us have had staffing issues where things have been terrible. We're going to talk about business and financials, credit card disputes, taking feedback, KPIs, working with VAs. The list goes on and on. I think we already have like 27 topics set up for podcasts. We've almost got I don't know, that's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of podcasts set up. But I'm really excited about it because I feel like this is all stuff that people don't talk about on a day-to-day basis. And so many small business owners just don't know what they need to know. Talking sales and marketing strategies. What does that look like for a small business owner who can't afford to spend, $5,000 a month on Google? And what kind of marketing strategies can they do and sales tips?
Yeah, and even hiring and training and retaining staff. What does that look like? What does your hiring process look like? Who's doing your recruiting? Are you recruiting in-house, or are you sitting there filtering through 100 applications on Indeed and hopefully getting 3 people to answer the phone and then nobody showing up for the interview? And then once you hire them, what does that process look like? Right? So there's a lot that can get lost in translation. Is it consistent across the board? Does every person that steps in foot into your business get the same approach and the same education from the very first day? Or is there information slipping? What can you do to create a process or a systemized approach when you're hiring people?
Right. We're going to talk about business wins, fails, and unexpected lessons too. Like one of the things that I really want, and Nicole obviously too, really wants to emphasize on this is it's not easy. We all have fails, but what do we do with that fail? Are we using it as an opportunity to learn and to change and to implement systems and processes? So we're going to give you our real life fails, our real life wins, and unexpected lessons we've met along the way.
Yeah, I love that too, because in my company, when something goes wrong, it can be easy to point the finger and blame. That was old me. I did that in the very beginning. But now when something goes wrong, my first instinct is, what did I not teach appropriately? What did I not have documented? What SOP is missing? So instead of shifting blame, I'm able to internalize and be like, okay, this isn't a learning opportunity for us to correct. But we'll also go over like work-life balance and the reality of being a business owner. I mentioned before that, I was working 70 hours where I had my laptop open at the dinner table. How do you go from a 9 to 5 where you get to shut your brain off and celebrate the time that you have with your family? Because I think that time freedom is more important as financial freedom.
Absolutely, 100%. You have to find a way to collapse time, basically, and whatever that looks like. That's one of my favorite books that I will probably reference a lot is Buy Back Your Time, because that's one of the things that Dan Martell goes over. If you're still answering your own emails and doing your own calendar, then you are your own assistant. So you have to get to a point where you are okay handing some of that stuff over. And then we've talked about expert listeners and guests. If you're interested in being on the podcast, let us know. We'd love to talk to you about some of your ideas and what kind of expertise you bring to the program, because we would love to have lots of expert guests and listener Q&As.
Yeah, and it would be fun to joke around, have fun, but actually learn something from other people as well. That is one thing about us is even though we're really good friends, we're pretty much in touch with several people in our same industry. So we're always gaining new knowledge and we share it with each other. Nobody's top secret with everything or hoarding all of the good stuff, so to speak. But Jen and I, we get to freely share everything that we're learning along the way. And I think the best lessons that we've kind of learned are the ones that we walk through together at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. There have been many times when I have voice memoed Nicole on Facebook, bawling my eyes out, not knowing how to deal with the situation. And she brings the voice of calm and the voice of reason and just says, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to handle it. This can be a good thing, and just kind of works me through it. And it's been such a huge blessing. Like I'll get emotional. Like I can't even get into it.
And then 20 minutes later, I'll message her and be like, hey, remember that time you cried over this thing?
Yep. Yep. Just totally already ripping the Band-Aid off, and it's totally fine. Speaking of which, a really funny story about a time that Nicole helped me out is, so we have deep clean specialists. They are certified deep clean specialists. And I wanted to come up with a logo that distinguishes us to have a deep clean specialist, right? So I'm going back and forth and I'm really trying to make it look like it's something great. Nicole is shooting down every single one of my ideas, which is, par for the course. And then she sends me this logo and I was like, oh my God, I love it. I love it so much. I'm going to use it. And I immediately the next day go back and I put it on. I ordered it through Ninja Transfers, got them in, put them on shirts, gave them to my deep clean specialist. And I don't know, what was it, 2 months later?
It was longer.
Maybe?
It was like 6 months to a year later, maybe. Probably like 6 months later.
I went in to order more of them and I looked closely at the logo and the word specialist is spelt wrong. What on earth? Neither of us caught that at all. Like, all of my girls are still wearing shirts with specialist spelt wrong. So nobody's noticed. Nobody's brought it to our attention. My techs haven't even noticed. But I just think it's hilarious. And the biggest lesson that I learned from that is you don't really trust your friends. So I think deep down she was trying to sabotage me somehow. But no, the lesson is proofread everything. Have somebody else proofread everything, but also run with it. You know what? If somebody ever brings up the fact that those shirts are misspelled, I will lean into it and I will laugh about it because it proves that we're human and we have not relied on AI for absolutely everything.
Yes. And so there is a human element in a room for error, but I think that also speaks on that the business owner in the room can't do everything, right? So that's, again, trusting the people that are better apparently at spelling, better than you to handle these tasks. But yeah, that was a pretty fun moment. Another funny moment is we were talking about hiring VAs, and we'll have a whole episode about hiring VAs and what that looks like in your company. And we were talking about a country and we were like, where is that? And then I was like, I told her, I said, I don't know, I'm not good at geology. And she just starts bursting out laughing. And I'm just in total oblivion. And I'm like, why is she laughing? Then
I looked at her and I go, you mean geography? And she's like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm not good with any of that stuff.
Obviously. So in that moment, to be fair, it was really, really late and I didn't know I was pregnant at the time.
And we were sleeping together. I mean, so it was kind of a weird moment anyway.
Yeah, that was fun. Or how we booked flights to go. We were going to the same event. So she lives in Florida. I live in Virginia. We were getting a connecting flight and flying together to California for a work event.
Can I just correct something right here? We didn't book flights. You booked the flights for both of us.
I So I told you the flight number. You're the one that put it in the card. So that's on you. Just like you're the one that printed the logo. So I think some accountability, we might need an episode on
Oh
that.
my gosh. You're right. You're right. I should have been accountable for that.
No, I'm just picking. So with that, we booked these flights. We were going to have a connecting flight and then we were going to fly to Cali together. And I think even flying home, we were flying to the, yeah. So a funny story is I was pregnant and I was like, I'm going to California. I'm not missing this event, even though I was about to be like 9 months pregnant at the time. And
And everybody is going, are you sure? Are you sure you're going to go? You're going to be like about ready to pop.
I was going to be 34 weeks at the time of the event. And it was like the day after we got back, I was turning like 35 weeks. And it wasn't until like a month before I was like trying to put my shoes on and how miserable I felt. In that moment, I was like, if I feel like this just putting my shoes on, there's just no way I can go get on a plane. So I had to bail on Jen.
So I got to go from Florida to Charleston. Wasn't it Charleston? I think it was Charleston. Charlotte. Florida to Charlotte, then all the way to California. Never mind, I could have just gone to like, Dallas and then California. And, when we were talking about it, she's like, I always book morning flights because there's less chance of being delayed, right? Every flight delayed. I missed my connection to Charlotte and they had to rebook me on a later flight. It was my own fault, clearly. I should have paid better attention.
And the unfortunate thing is when we were booking the flights, there was a straight shot flight for her from her first airport to California. So just don't let your friends book flights. But to be fair,
No.
you're kind of the reason why
I'm a real
pregnant,
one.
So it's your
I
fault.
mean, we'll talk about that. More teasers. Like, you guys have to come back now. You've got to hear all these stories.
Yeah, we have
right?
so many funny inside jokes and they are just spontaneously come about,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even list them all. We're talking years of friendship and chaos.
I think back when you were talking about like going through our Facebook Messenger, like you should edit in there, like just you scrolling through our messages really quickly so that people can see that it never ends, because it's like never ends. It's like ridiculously long.
Yes. I mean, if you try to search anything, it takes forever to load. It
really does.
But I wouldn't change it for anything. Having a friend along the way is so important. It's vital. It's part of my success. We always joke that we're in competition with each other. And it's funny because just about every month besides last month, but we're not going to talk about that.
Wait. No.
No.
What was last month?
Every month we finish, like we set like a goal, but every month we are like within like $1,000 in sales. Like no matter how much we grow together, we're like right at each other's heels. So it's just funny how along the way when we started, we thought we knew it all and we didn't, but as we're learning and we're growing, we're right there next to each other. And it's just this friendly competition. Like I have the password to her CRM and she has the password to mine. And we'll just like hop on and be like, you're beating me, but it's fun. It makes it fun. It's not a real competition, even though we know I'm
well,
right.
it's something. It's just something to shoot for. Like we push each other. I'm just gonna skim over that. No, but it's just we push each other. And I've seen other coaches in our industry that talk about the people that push them along the way too. Like, hey, I got to this mark because so and I were like competing against each other. And it's not that we're competing. It's really just that we're pushing each other. And it's exciting to see the growth for both of us.
I love when we have that outsider perspective that kind of knows your journey along the way. So, it's hard when you're meeting with someone for just 30 minutes or an hour and you're trying to fill them in on all the backstory from a year. And so the advice you get it might apply to what backstory you provided them. But when you have somebody that has known the whole situation as it spanned out in that whole year time frame, when something comes about, they can kind of give you that non-biased opinion. So it's easy for me to give Jen advice and then like I can't tell you how many times I've stopped and been like, I probably need to take my own advice right now. So it's nice because you kind of have somebody you're not alone, you're doing it alongside somebody.
Right.
So everybody needs a Jen, not this Jen, but a Jen.
Jen. Everybody needs a Nicole as well. Like somebody's got to bust your balls. Somebody's got to be pushing you all the time. And honestly, whether she wants to admit it or not, there is a soft side, but she will quickly like rebut it with something else. She's like a Sour Patch Kid. Like she'll be super sweet. And then it's like, but wait, remember how embarrassing this was? I got to bring you back down a little bit. So we're excited to start this journey with you, whether you're growing a business, thinking about starting one, or just here for the shenanigans. We've got a ton of great content coming your way.
And don't forget, business isn't just numbers and spreadsheets. It's a wild ride, and we're here for it.
Right. So subscribe to the podcast, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. I think that's really Facebook and YouTube, which is just Our Business Shenanigans on both of those. Search us out there and leave us a review or send in listener questions. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time,
Take care and have fun with RBS.
Yeah. Yes. All of RBS.